Hey, welcome to Caching in the Northwest. You know, this is the podcast from the birthplace of geocaching right here in the great Pacific Northwest. Now, it's Thursday at 9 p.m. Pacific. I'm Chris of the Northwest, and we're going to talk about geocaches and geocachers from here and all around the globe. So while you're icing your hand because you caught that foul ball without a glove, we'll be caching in the Northwest. Now, tonight, we are recapping the Tri-Cities GeoCoin Challenge 2023 with our very own Wits End and Breiling. So, live audience, share your thoughts. I know some of you didn't go there. Some of you went to Caching on the Bay instead. That's okay, because that would have been quite the commute either way. You're excused from going to the Tri-Cities.
Yeah, well, Monkey's on assignment tonight, so that anything that goes sideways, wrong, or otherwise we don't like, it's his fault.
Certainly is.
It's just the way it works. But yes, we're going to chat a little bit about the Tri-Cities. Had some fun. Met some great folks. We'll talk about it. But first, we need to give you a quick reminder that we appreciate the support of our patrons, all the patrons who help keep this podcast coming each and every week. Special thanks to Land Sharks, because they're one of our corporate Denali level sponsors. You know, that coronation of King Charles trackable geocoin that we told you to look for? Well, it's there. It's at their store. It's on their site. Go check it out. You're not going to want to miss that one.
Go there now.
Get that and all other kinds of cool geocaching swag at landsharkswithaz.ca. And of course, our other corporate Denali level sponsor, that's Gold Country Geotourism. You can visit exploregoldcountry.com to learn more about the Geotour and the entire Gold Country region. Don't forget to have an awesome app. Download that. You can get all that information there and at facebook.com/exploregoldcountry. If you would like to know more about supporting the show, why don't you go over to the cachingnw.com website and click that Patreon link. We'd appreciate it.
Somewhere on the page. I don't know where it is.
It's there somewhere.
I want to say it's on the left. But, I'm left-handed, so everything I want to say is on the left.
There you go.
Yeah. Hey, it's time for the glow. And before I ask you guys what it might be, I'm just giving you time to warm up, to get used to this again. Yeah, thank you. We need your glows. We're running out. Now, this week we got one that fits perfectly with our theme, so thank you very much. Trexer. I was going to wait for the surprise, but, well, I got excited. And so we need your glows. Now, you may ask me what a glow is.
What a glow is?
What is a glow?
I like you guys. It's the geocaching log of the week. So whether you read it or whether you wrote it, we want to hear about it because great logs simply make geocaching better. Now, you can send an email or a recording to feedback@cachingnw.com. You can call in to 253-693-TFTC and show us just how you glow.
That's right. And as Chris spilled the beans, this glow was logged by Trexer. And it's from a cache called Valley View, which is GC 299. So I'm thinking it's been around just a little while, because that's a really short GC code. So Trexer says, I couldn't resist this oldie while passing on through. I wasn't sure how close I'd be able to drive or how off-road the road would become. As it turns out, it seems civilization is creeping ever closer to this cache. I parked at the turnaround and made the quick wander up to ground zero. It's nice to get the legs moving and the blood pumping after some driving today. Quite the varied views and even some snow-capped mountains in the distance. Thanks for keeping this one going after all these years. Based on how new many of the houses look, I'll bet the views have changed over the years. He said, this is day 2 of my Tri-Cities GeoCoin Challenge 2023 trip. Plan to spend a few days in Washington before the mega and after. Set my eyes on the WSGA Geotour, which means I get to visit several places I've never been before. I started the day crawling out of my tent bright and early at Alta Lake and headed south to the Tri-Cities on a path that zigged and zagged while grabbing some Cascadian and South Central Geotour caches. There were plenty of finds in sagebrush, but brilliant blue waters never seemed to be too far away. Had some fun getting the car dusty on some unpaved roads. I finished the day attending a Maker Magic event and finding some familiar faces to talk about our latest adventures. Thanks for adding a stop along the way.
Nice. Well, I'm not going to talk more about the Tri-Cities event until we go through some other details we want to get through. So first of all, you guys have already been using the hashtags Tri-Cities for tonight, and hashtag FATAS if you want to bring up something in the after show. And of course, the dueling hashtags, podcast baking and hashtag podcast drinking. And yeah, I've already seen those go flying by.
They have. So. I was going to say, Wino Seattle is drinking what I think should be called a wit's end because it's quite approachable, mild, really well balanced, and a little nutty.
Yeah. I can't argue with that. So, I'm more looking for an argument.
I've missed what it was actually called, but I think it's from here forward should be a wit's end.
Okay.
Wit's end ale, I guess. I don't know.
Love it. Hey, we do have some news tonight. I got an email from Nancy of the Deadliest Cachers. I don't know if I want to go caching with a group called the Deadliest Cachers.
No, but I wonder if Mike Rowe narrates their journeys.
Oh, that would be good, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
She says this year's Maker Magic event that I held in the Buffalo, New York area was called the Pirate Project. The project consisted of those who were interested to create a pirate-themed geocache hide and have it published on Tuesday, September 19th, which is one of my favorite holidays. It be Talk Like a Pirate Day. Yeah. After the event, I got to thinking, why limit this mass publication of pirate-themed geocaches just to my local area? So I'm inviting all geocachers to join in on the hijinks and make this undertaking a worldwide event. You can find all the details on the Pirate Project page of my website, Geocaching Central. And that's actually a very good website. You should go out and look at Geocaching Central. We'll pause the podcast here so you can, pull off the road, get your smartphone ready, go. No, you can go there later. She goes on to say, it's my hope that you'll use the resources to share the project details with geocachers worldwide so that the simultaneous publishing of pirate-themed geocaches will be an epic event in the world of geocaching. There you go.
Sounds like they had a fun time at that event.
Yes.
And more are planned. So if you're in that area, check it out. Might be a good time.
Wino says, is this the same lady that's doing this from Syracuse, New York? Yeah, she said she was in the Buffalo, New York area. So I assume that's somewhat close based on my New York geography, which I'm a little...
Yeah, it's closer than Washington State is. I'll guarantee you that.
Exactly. There you go.
So, all right. Well, emails. Geocaching emails. Anybody get any geocaching emails lately? Like maybe a charted email? Did you get a charted email? Because, who doesn't love a good chart or graph?
Kids love charts and graphs.
Oh, yeah. So this email was like a mini stats page for the first half of the year because, by golly, here we are halfway through 2023.
I know.
Time flies.
And, time really does fly. And there were some interesting numbers there for if you took a look at it. If you ever feel like your geocaching numbers aren't quite as high as you'd like them to be, as I've said in the past, I'm here to help you feel better. The total number of finds, the list for the year so far, I have 108. Not that many. You could achieve that in a weekend. Brylang achieved more finds in the month of June than I have in my entire almost 20-year geocaching time. How many favorite points you've awarded, the most favorite caches that you've found, the number of finds per day, the highest number of finds per day, 47, which, again, we're going to talk about in just a minute for me. And the number of days you went geocaching this year. I'll bet most of you listening to me, listening to the podcast, have cached more than 15 days this year, but that's all I've managed to get out. So,
you've had a busy year, though.
It's been kind of a crazy year, I admit, yeah. But if you got that email and you wanted to share some stats, throw them in the chat. We love hearing from you.
Yeah, exactly. So while we're waiting for people to talk about their charted email or their geocaching charted email that they've got, really what we want to talk about is the Tri-Cities GeoCoin Challenge 2023. Now, you both were there.
I do remember that.
There you go.
It's all a blur.
Thank you. Someone named Brylang. If you can use the hashtag stats if you want to share your charted stats.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, was it just from this morning? The email was.
Yes, 11 hours ago, according to my Gmail window. So it came out today.
2 ago. Let's see.
You might have.
Hours.
Okay. Thought maybe you were ahead of me in the timeline, which is possible.
So now you both have done, well, maybe not. Have you both done the Tri-Cities GeoCoin Challenge before?
Negative Rampart.
I've been about 3 or 4 times, I think.
Yeah, this was my first time. All the years that you and Land Monkeys and, well, lots of people that I know came over here and participated. I never could make my schedule line up to get over here. But I made it this year. And it really wasn't that far to go either.
Huh.
Amazing.
Imagine that.
Yeah, had a good time.
Now, Bryling, I think you drove a little bit farther.
Well, I didn't drive anywhere. I was a backseat navigator this time.
Ooh.
Yeah, he carpooled down with the monkeys, and I jumped in the other side of the back seat, and we all did the Tri-Cities in the Monkey Mobile. Kept looking for Sylvester McMonkey McBean, but, you know.
Getting a monkey song in my head. Hey, hey, we're the monkeys.
If it doesn't have a tail, it's not a monkey. Even if it has a monkey kind of shape.
It's a different
song. It has
song.
a monkey kind of Jeep.
Yeah. There you go.
So, in the past several years of the Tri-Cities GeoCoin event, they focused on a different theme.
Yes.
What was this year's theme, and did you learn anything new about the Tri-Cities because of the theme or the caches?
Well, it was Tales of the Tri-Cities.
Oh,
it doesn't have a tail, it's not a monkey.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Now, this is tales as in stories, you know, books, that kind of thing. And the geocoin was shaped like a little book with pictures of all the previous year's geocoins in them. It was really kind of cool. I would love to show you mine, but it's in the other room, and I totally spaced on bringing it in here. So, I don't know. Brylang's probably got one around there somewhere. But, yeah, so Tales of the Tri-Cities. I don't know how much I learned about the Tri-Cities. Having lived here now for a year, I was kind of familiar with it. But I did get to some parts of the Tri-Cities that I had not yet been to cache. So that was kind of fun.
Nice. I've noticed over the years, I don't know how many times I've done it, maybe only 5 or 6. So I'm not saying I've been there every year.
Did you notice a lot of things changed when you're...
Oh, well, the town changes, but they tend to reuse the parks over and over.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, I remember going to this park and, I've been to that park.
How much has it changed, Chris?
Oh, I can tell you how much it's changed. Let me tell you.
Yeah, there were a few times that we pulled into a park or just drove past a site and the monkeys or Brylang there would say, oh, we found one in this park. Oh, we found one at that site. Well, there's the book. So Brylang has the Tales of the Tri-Cities. And as you look inside the book...
And it's a multi-page book.
Yeah, so there's the
of a coin.
Earliest of the events. There are dates at the bottom there.
One of the coins looks like this one. Oh,
I can't... Yeah, they can't see you, Chris.
Yeah, I know. I just realized that.
So there's...
Wow.
Yeah, some great coins there. There's the one that Brylang liked with the knife, fork, and spoon, the food theme one he mentioned. And there was the goodies theme one. So many of them that I have seen either on the podcast because Jen came on and promo the event, or saw in person because Chris came over and got it and brought it back and showed me. In fact, when I moved over here, he had a little one on his desk at work, and he said, I'm turning it to face Pasco in your honor. So
I still have that at my desk upstairs in my home office, since I don't really have a work desk.
Yeah.
And oddly enough, it's still pointing to Pasco.
So yeah, it was really cool. And yes, they reused lots of sites, I was told. I my first
Very,
time.
very many visits to sites we've been to in previous years.
Yeah. But there's at least one park that was brand new, so I don't think there's been any caches there before.
Nice.
A couple of places we were on brand new streets that weren't even on the map.
Yeah.
I could have told you that if I was in the car with you.
I figured.
Yeah.
You know, I lived there for, I don't know, 4 years. And the town is pretty small. The Tri-Cities is not a big area. So you get to know it pretty well. And, you know, we're driving along and the GPS says, keep going north. I go, you can't go north. The road turns here. Wait, the road doesn't turn here anymore.
Not anymore.
What is this?
It's a shortcut.
CRS 98 says 106 finds total over the 4 days I was there. Finished off the WSGA 20 SC, that's South Central caches, and about half of the Snake River Toe Challenge geo art.
Very nice.
I don't know what the Snake River Toe is.
And looking back at my
TOW
charted stats email, I only have 2 more finds than that for the entire year. So well done.
Yeah.
So just a quick aside there, the Toe Challenge geo art, if I can get the right words. It's east of the Tri-Cities along the Snake River. At, I think it was Lower Monument Dam.
Mm-hmm.
There is a new geo art on the map that was published since the beginning of the year, and it's in the shape of a tugboat pulling a barge.
Oh, nice.
And about half the caches are on the west bank of the river, and the other half are on the other side of the river. And I think it's about an hour drive to go around between the two sides, because you can't drive across the dam.
No,
right.
But Evel Knievel tried to jump the Snake River.
Yeah, that was
It didn't end well.
That didn't end well.
That was in, what was it, Twin Falls, Idaho? Maybe? I don't remember.
Yeah, in Idaho.
Yeah, it was farther east than there, yeah. The river was much smaller back there. That far upstream.
It was still a very wide canyon.
Oh, yes. Still a wide canyon, but not as, yeah.
Yeah, and not as steep, and you probably didn't need a rocket bike. But maybe you could do it quicker in a rocket bike. Okay, let's get back to the Tri-Cities. So we're going to go a little west from the Toe geo art.
Okay.
Back to the Tri-Cities. What were the highlights of the weekends for the weekend for you guys?
Well, we had a great time finding caches. I had a great time getting the coin that I've seen on the podcast, and it is right up there with all those other fantastic coins. But for me, the highlight of the weekend was just hanging out and visiting with friends. Finds or not, that was, I look forward to getting together with folks.
Nice.
Brian Lang, what about you?
You pretty much said it all. I mean, got to see some people that I rarely see because, well, I don't get to a lot of events in Washington State unless they're the megas.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt rushed to me this year. But maybe that was just the timing of the trip. Like, we got to the Make Our Magic event, and then we were heading off to dinner. We got to the morning event after there had been a reviewer and volunteer breakfast beforehand. So I got to the morning event, kickoff, and then we were heading in the Jeep going caching. It's like, do I ever stop moving?
No.
So it felt a little rushed to me, but I think that was just the way timing worked for me this year.
Nice. So, Bryling, you brought it up there. There were other events surrounding pre and post events around the big GeoCoin Challenge kickoff. One of them being that Maker Madness event on Friday night. How was that?
Maker Madness. Maker Magic. Years ago.
Sorry, I get stuck a couple of years ago.
I've been trying to get the right word all weekend too. There was a little bit of cache building going on up on the stage in the park they were using in Richland.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't see a lot else about making caches going on. I don't know if they did some kind of introductory speechifying before we got there, or if they did more after we left and went to dinner. Didn't hear much in the way of public address to the crowd at that event.
Okay.
It was more of a giant meet and greet than a Maker Magic.
I know they were able to get that snuck in there. I think they already had the event planned, and then the Maker Magic
They applied to be a Maker Magic, and then they added
event
the
came out, and they're like,
the
"Oh,
cache construction." They added a cache construction section up on the stage, and I'm not sure exactly what was going on up there. I kind of wandered by, but didn't linger. Picked up my bingo card to go around and ask people questions, but then we didn't linger long enough to fill it in.
Yeah. I was able to fill out a few grids on other people's bingo cards. So that was kind of fun.
Yeah.
Like finding 108 caches in the year?
Something like that.
Okay.
Now, let's see. There was caching by bicycle.
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember what else.
I think there was another one that's find a 4-4, a D4, T4 cache or better. I filled that one in on a few. Found a cache in more than one country. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Seabeck Tribe, who was there, by the way,
Yes.
said they had many caches to look at and play with up on the stage there at the Maker Magic.
Well, there was some down in front of the stage too. I do recall somebody playing with something down there. So
yeah, there were several stations. But like I said, I spend most time meeting and greeting and having a good time. And I would, shout out names to everybody that I saw here, but I would forget somebody, and then I would feel bad. So it was great seeing all of you at the event, whether I got a chance to chat with you or not. So
nice. Now, what about the actual event Saturday morning? Breiling, you said you felt a little rushed because you had a breakfast before.
Yeah, so I was dropped off at the breakfast Lackey Reviewer volunteer event, and then I got a ride to the main event with some of the other lackeys.
The monkeys and I went and found a 4-4 cache and a letterbox across the street from his breakfast while we were there.
Wow.
And then when I got to the main event, they very quickly moved into making all their announcements and thank yous and the safety talk from the police officer, don't speed, the usual. And then we were handed our passports and off we went. Like, it felt really quick to me. It was about half an hour.
Yeah.
Okay. Wino said the dirty old man by the name of Goblin Dust was there showing off his geocaches at the Maker Magic event. And Seabeck Tribe says Wits End was a great one for the name card.
Oh, was it? Yeah, that was the poker run name card, was it, or was that something else?
Well, there was a second. There wasn't just a bingo page. There was another game where you had to get people to fill in.
Yeah,
and I don't remember what the words.
I was trying to remember the words. Yeah, it was whether your caching name begins or ends.
Begins or ends with certain letters. So I think one of the two words vertically was geocaching. So Breilang ends in a G, so I could fill in for
there you go.
That spot for a few people.
One of the words ended in D, or there was a D in one of the words because Wits End ended in that. So
right,
yeah, I did help Seabeck Tribe out with that one.
Nice.
So
there's a comment there from CRS98.
Oh, I went
above that one.
Sorry, he held a Maker Magic event at my TB hotel. That's GC 9. Zulu. Thank you. 9 Zulu 6-3 Alpha. The past Saturday had 43 cachers attend from 5 states. That's Kentucky, Indiana, Ohio, Tennessee, and a couple from Alabama.
Okay.
They probably just lost, but they had a GPS. They were going to be fine.
Yeah.
CRS 98 said it was a pretty well attended event. I was talking with one of the volunteers, and they were expecting about 700 people. I know that they would have almost run out of coins.
That's an interesting point, because there's been an ongoing discussion on the Tri-Cities Facebook page this week, and I think on the event page itself they've sent out a couple of announcements. They were down to 5 coins remaining at one point.
Wow.
Which later changed to 8. But I think they've committed to reordering a second batch, and they asked some of the local Tri-Cities area geocachers to hold off collecting their coins until the new batch came in.
The batch, yeah. By the way, that game card on Friday night said geocaching friends.
There you go.
So, thanks, Laurie. So yeah, they had more response than they had coins for. And they are, I think I saw a note that they're asking you if you are going to complete it to contact them, let them know, and to please complete the GeoCoin challenge by July 5th, so that you've got this long upcoming weekend to take care of that.
And that's what I'm going over.
That's what I've heard.
So you better make it so.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do you push the pedal on the machine to make it so? That's a joke. Okay. Winos has some stats here. I'm guessing this is from the previous GeoCoin challenges. In 2020, 2 people attended. I don't know if that's accurate.
How's that possible?
In 2021, 315. In 2022, 302. This year, 357.
Yeah, I don't think there was one in 2020.
Maybe somebody showed up at the canceled event site.
Maybe.
Could be.
Don't know.
Oh, Komakino asks, I can't get down there until August. Does that mean I can't get the coin? Not necessarily.
Yeah, I was going to say, reach out to Jen. Her email address is on the event page, and let her know. And I can't say you will, but I can say you won't. So definitely reach out.
You may be able to get the reprint.
Yeah.
You'll have to buy the White Album again. Oh, wait, that's something different, isn't it?
Yeah, completely different.
So what type of caches and how many different types of caches were involved in this year's event?
Well, there were, of the 4 Tri-Cities, there were 5 caches per city. So that's 20. And then there was 1 Adventure Lab with 5 stops each for each of the Tri-Cities. So, 1 Adventure Lab with 5 stops and 5 traditionals meant 10 locations in each city for 40. And then with the event itself, with a bonus cache at the end, and event before and after, as my stats page says, my highest cache day of the year so far was last Saturday at 47 caches, which for somebody like me, that's a lot of caches in a day.
Well, there you go. That's almost half your caches for the year.
Just about.
If I do the math.
But yeah, it felt like a pretty good number. We were able to easily complete it, interspersed with other caches. The Land Monkeys, and I also wanted to find some of the GeoTour, the WSJ GeoTours, because there are some of those right here in the Tri-Cities. So Bryling did a great job. Shout out to him for navigating and combining all of those onto one map page, including, you correct me, Bryling, but it was Lab2GPX.
Yes.
So it's a website that took all of the individual Adventure Lab stops and put them in a GPX file. So with one glance, you could see, we're coming up on Adventure Lab stop, number 3 for Richland, which is right next to traditional 4 for West, whatever. It helped us really be more efficient in our routing.
Yes.
Normally I do all that kind of work well ahead of time. But
you
the
can't.
Adventure Labs were not published until the morning of the event.
Right.
And right at 9 o'clock, I think, or sometime between 9 and 9:30. We were set loose at 9:30. Or was it 8? Yeah, 9:30. And then the caches themselves were published at 9:30. So I couldn't do anything until they handed us the passport page.
Yeah.
So I got on the geocaching website on my phone. I did the search for TC 2023 and I found all 20 caches, put them in a bookmark list, downloaded the bookmark list to GC Droid on my Android phone. And then I used Lab2GPX to download all the Adventure Labs within 1 kilometer, because the it's a German website, so they use metric, 1 kilometer of the mega event coordinates, which picked up all 4 of the Adventure Labs because they're all listed at the mega event. That gave me a lot more Adventure Labs than I wanted because there's no way to limit it to just the ones you want.
There's no filtering there, is there?
There's no filtering that I could see, and not in the time I had anyway. So I downloaded all those into a GPX file, which I again imported into GC Droid, and then I combined the two into one view, and we used that to navigate all day. Now, the other super interesting thing was, and I learned this in my previous adventure 2 weeks earlier down to Nevada, which we can talk about some other time.
Oh, we need to. You're not getting out of here without talking about that. It may not be tonight.
So I learned how to use Android Auto in Nevada. And I learned that I can use my phone to navigate to the cache in Google Maps, and it automatically pops up on the car's navigate screen.
Yeah.
When you're connected with Android Auto. Mm-hmm. So in the Monkey's Jeep, all I had to do was connect the USB cable to my phone, and my map showed up on their screen.
Right.
So Mrs. Land Monkey was doing the driving, and she just had, as soon as it popped up on the screen and we were all in the Jeep and sitting down, she was ready to go, and we just went stop to stop to stop. It was so neat.
Yeah, it worked out really well.
But you almost need two phones for that, right? One that can just be dedicated to navigation in the car, and another one that you can, log on.
Yes and no, because I was able to because when you're using Google Maps from the phone with Android Auto, you can still use all your other apps on the phone. You're not tied to one screen. Yeah. Basically, you're mirroring Google Maps to the car screen, which means you can still use your phone for other purposes. So while navigation was on the car screen, I could log the find. So it was super neat.
Yeah, it helped to have like a 6-foot USB-C cable. So
right
to reach the back seat.
He could be in the back seat and still be plugged into the dashboard.
Nice.
But,
Skyhawker.
Yeah, so I was a backseat driver, literally.
Yeah,
you were a backseat navigator.
Yeah.
Skyhawker says, I use the same method as Brylang, but filtered the ALs through GSEC to limit the ALs to the 4 needed.
There you go.
See, I didn't have GSEC on my phone, so I didn't have that option, and I don't have a decent laptop right now. I have an old MacBook Air, but can't run GSEC on that.
I popped this one up earlier. CRS98 says lab to GPX and cache tour make a great combination.
Yeah, right. And again, if I was a little bit more familiar with the inner workings of Cache Tour, I might have tried that.
Mm-hmm.
But given that the caches were released and we wanted to hit the road as quick as possible, I did what I knew I could do the fastest.
Yeah,
I hear you.
It still took me until we got to the first cache to get everything done.
Mm-hmm.
Like we just picked the closest cache north of the event and went there and just started our day there.
Yeah.
And by the time we got to the second cache, I was fully organized and had the rest of the day ready to go.
I'd be curious, Cliff, if you had tracked any mileage for that event, because my GPS map track, or Google Maps map track, shows that I traveled 125 miles by car that day. Now, there were some, like I said, we dropped Brylang at the breakfast event in the morning, so there was a little bit of outside of just the Geo Tour, but it was easily over 100 miles, and I'm wondering how Cache Tour routing compared to Brylang routing.
Historically speaking, 3Hams has told me in past years, we usually drive around 100 to 110 miles.
Okay.
Just doing the GeoCoin challenge. So that's within the right ballpark.
Okay.
Patrick, I'm trying to come up with his geocaching name. Yeah.
Was that Team Pest?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
For those that check the mega event page, there was a cache tour route linked on the event page at 9:30 a.m.
There you go. So we used Brylang routing, and it worked just great.
Yeah. And Brylang, that's the same thing I've done in the past, is let's go. You guys run out and get the first cache. I'm going to sit in the car and figure out our routes from this point on. Right. And then, okay, now we're ready to go. I've used Cache Tour. I've used Lab to GPX. I love that one. I found that Cachely worked really well. Cachely will show all the stages of a adventure lab that is not sequential.
Okay.
So I could take all those and pull them into an offline page and use
See,
that.
if I was a little bit more experienced with GeoGo, I might have been able to pull them in there as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I have had bad experiences with GeoGo in areas where I don't have a data connection.
Mm.
Now, I did have data this weekend, so that wasn't a problem. But I didn't think to use it. I went with what I knew, what I'm most experienced with, because again, like there's that time pressure at the beginning of the day to get the route going, get moving. Don't just sit in the parking lot. When we got back to the mega event site, picked up our coins, you had to use them to solve the final bonus cache for the day.
Yeah.
And basically you had to use, like there was questions and you had to use the coin to figure out the answers to unlock a lock, and then you had to unlock a second lock, and then you had to unlock a third lock, and then you got to the logbook. So that was a super interesting end to the day. I don't remember where I was going with that story. When we signed that logbook, we were within the first dozen people to sign that logbook at the end.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we did really well on time. We were back about 4:30.
Yeah.
And that was with a stop. We made Wits End. We found one. The GeoTour caches that we had found the previous day.
Yeah.
It was at one of the Adventure Lab stops for the day, so that was no big deal.
Right.
We stopped for 2 other GeoTour caches midday, and then we at one of the other GeoCoin Challenge caches, there was a library cache across the parking lot.
Yeah.
So we went and did that one as well. So we only had about 3 or 4 stops outside of the GeoTour Challenge across the day.
Yeah, most of the day was focused on those. And it was great. It was the best Tri-Cities GeoCoin Challenge I've ever done.
That's great. How many have you done now?
One,
I suppose.
One, I suppose. Yeah, it was good. I see you were mentioning here what didn't you like, and I'll throw this out. It wasn't something I didn't like, but it was maybe a challenge. We pulled up at one stop, and there's a whole line of people lined up for this cache. We're like, why is everybody still? And then we realized, see, this year, in order to complete your passport, you had to do a rubbing from each of the physical caches, which was great. But when 6, 7, 8, 10, 12 people show up to do a rubbing all at the same time, you have to wait your turn. So there's Mr. Land Monkey. They're making a rubbing. You can see his answer sheet there. That was one of the last ones we did for the day. So there, by the end of the day, you'll have a sheet full of. If you're really good, you can zoom in and look at it, but I'm not going to go there. But so it was great, and it was creative. It was fun, and it was neat to see what the pictures and all were. But it did slow things down a little bit, and I know that in some years past, I'm told you guys would be there before the coin distribution began at 3, and as Brightling said, we got there at 4:30, which is still plenty of time.
Perfectly fine. Yeah.
In past years, there was hole punches. There was code words. I'm trying to remember what else they've done over the years. I think it was mainly just those 2, hole punches and code words.
Okay.
But with code words, you can tell your buddy.
Right.
They don't even have to go to the cache.
Right.
So then people will be finished by noon. Oh, we'll just divide this into 4 sections, and hey, we found the whole thing.
Yeah.
Hole punches work great because you still had to be there, and it literally takes a second or 2 to punch a hole in your sheet in the right spot, and on you go. Rubbing, you got to line the paper up in the right spot, then color over it, and then hope you got it in the right spot. And as the Skyhawker,
Yep.
he said it did slow everyone down. I would say it took the extra hour that took, like normally we've been back between 2:30 to 3:30, and today or this year it was 4:30. So I would say it took an extra hour waiting for all the rubbings at all the stops.
Well, and as Mrs. Landmonkey pointed out a couple of times, I'm amazed at how many people don't know how to do a pencil rubbing.
Mm-hmm.
They've got the point of the pencil down. It's like, side, So.
Right. If you had a crayon, I bet that would work really well.
And I saw some people bringing in passports at the end of the day with crayon. And I thought, that would have been
Sideways, take all the paper off a crayon and rub it sideways.
Done.
Yep.
Yeah, that would have been.
I'm going over this weekend. I better start looking for.
That's right. Look for a crayon.
Yeah, they gave us the short, stubby IKEA pencils.
Mm-hmm.
Not the ones with IKEA branding on them, but that's that size.
But yeah, the golf pencils.
I
Yeah,
was going to say, you're set to go play mini golf after you finished your passport.
Mm-hmm. No, I had to sharpen the pencil twice over the course of the day. They had put pencil sharpeners in a lot of the caches.
Yeah.
So there was a little bit of good planning there.
I used my pocket knife to kind of slice a big wide side of the lead open. So
we've got a lot of comments on how people did navigation, and I kind of want to switch to that or stay on that topic if you don't mind. Skyhawker said we had 2 GPX files Scouting Forever did before we launched. One for the ALs and the others for the caches.
Okay.
There you go. You could combine those into a list in almost any geocaching app. Let's see. Wino Seattle said we tracked it. Wasurf has the numbers, and there's a picture of the route posted on the WSGA main Facebook page. So number of miles.
I think Winos is trying to share that with me on Facebook, but I don't have enough mental bandwidth to go transferred over here right now.
CRS98 says, I didn't generate a cache tour route with Aubarche until noon, and it included the WSGA 20 caches and a bunch of puzzles as well. IHAM says, I believe one year we used Monkey Cakes navigation as well. That's a special class of navigation, but you have to travel.
And you get cupcakes at the same time?
Oh yeah,
okay.
Exactly. Baked goods. Wino says, I'll tell you what worked well. Bev from Bob Bev and Lacey, she made 3 solid mistakes in the course of the challenge.
She found 3 solid mistakes.
She found 3 solid mistakes. Sorry.
I don't know what the mistakes were.
Oh, I don't know.
It's classified. Oh, wait, no.
Yeah, and Skyhawker said the same thing you did, Brylang. The rubbing was good in that it prevented team cheating with the words.
Yeah, and I get that. And I support that. It was fun and creative, but just took time.
Yeah. CRS98 said, I think the rubbings were okay, but it would be nice to have 2 rubbing surfaces to use.
Yeah.
2 or 3.
And like the picture I showed of Mr. Monkey there, it was on a big solid object, but sometimes it wasn't. Sometimes the rubbing item was just on the lid of the cache, and it was kind of hard to balance that on your thigh or whatever.
You had to balance that and the paper, and then do the rubbing all at the same time.
I assume there were just 3D printed, raised.
They must be. They were all somewhat. Some of them we couldn't figure out what the heck they were. But there was one of them that had to do with the nuclear reactors at Hanford. It was a radioactive symbol.
Radiation symbol. Okay. There was a hydro dam. There was a coyote.
Maybe they were stamps. Were they rubberish or were they hard?
No, they were hard plastic.
I would say they were 3 printed because they're very topical to the Tri-Cities.
Okay.
Like they go with the theme, the Tales of the Tri-Cities.
Yes.
There you go.
They fit in with that.
Yeah.
Skyhawker, very talkative tonight and, right on topic. So thank you for that. RX Gal said next time she's going to bring a big piece of brown chalk.
There you go. Yeah, Team Passes, they were all 3D printed. So that's the way they looked. That's what I thought. So, and I believe they even have some spares. I don't know.
Wino said one of the Kennewick Adventure Labs had us pull up between the production crush pad and the tasting room facilities of Bartholomew Winery. We pulled up, Wasurf, Bob Evan Lacey ran straight. Hold on. There it is. Straight for the tasting room. In time, they had solved the Adventure Lab, had to come back with a full case of wine on my shoulder. No joke.
Yeah, we didn't wander through the winery property. We went around the outside.
Oh, so Team Pass, who is part of the committee, we'll just admit that, okay?
Yep.
He's got firsthand knowledge when he says the punches had a high failure rate in the past years.
Oh, okay.
And we would only use 2 per city. The rubbings and registration nearly eliminated that a single address doing multiple passport redemptions. Nice. I remember in the past, I think somebody took a punch either by accident or thought it was swag out of one of the caches. Like, there's no punch in this one. How are we supposed to, oops.
Yeah.
So, well, good. That it sounded like it was a very full weekend.
It was.
Yeah.
And thank you, listeners, for adding into the chat and adding your experiences on top. It was fantastic. So you guys, you started at 9:30, ended about 4:30. So
yeah, very doable in a day.
Yeah.
We've got another comment here.
Yeah.
Caching Kent says, one of the physical caches was a mini model of the B reactor at Hanford.
Oh, nice.
One of my favorites. See, on the GeoCoin Challenge Day, quite often I've been the driver, so I don't even see the caches. I'm usually sitting in the car pulling up the navigation for this next spot while my team is grabbing the cache and code or stamp or rubbing or whatever. But this year I actually got to see the caches, except I was so focused on signing the log and getting the rubbing that I didn't see the caches.
Yeah.
A lot of them were typical for the Tri-Cities,
right?
Especially in the parks, were an in-ground irrigation control box,
right?
Without the irrigation control, it was just the hide.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, it's the Parks Department. We'll just give ourselves permission to dig a hole. It's nice when you could do that.
Yeah.
Oh, Team Pass says we had a few people figure out crayons work much better, but we distributed pencils as the crayons melt in the caches over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see that. It was a very warm, very sunny day. I had a little bit of sunburn on my neck I'm still dealing with before I got my sunscreen on a few stops down the road.
Yeah, it wasn't
back of your neck was dirty and gritty.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was collecting the dirt after I put the sunscreen on.
Yeah. So warm but not terrible.
The caching can said there were a bunch of irrigation boxes, 8-ish.
Okay.
So there you go. Wow, you guys look like you had fun.
We did.
What news? When's the next event? What's moving forward? What's the future of geocaching in the Tri-Cities?
Well, there are tons of great geocaches here that aren't going anywhere. Lots of them from previous year's challenges. All of the ones that from this weekend are still out there. But as we mentioned, coins are thin and few and far between. So if you're planning to do it, get out and do it quickly and reach out and contact Jen on the event page so she knows you're coming, because I think they're planning to order another batch of coins. I'm not sure of that. And
if they get enough requests, they will order another batch.
Yeah.
So make sure you put your request in early so she knows.
Yeah. As far as the Tri-Cities GeoCoin Challenge, this was a really great capstone. They've done this now, correct me, 13 years? This is the 13th year. This is the 13th challenge in 14 years.
Let's check the book.
Because 2020 never happened. But the book lists all the previous 12 years coins in there, and it's a great summary of all of them. And it's a great way to close the book on the Tri-Cities GeoCoin Challenge, because Jen did announce that this was the last one. They've had a great run. Just an excellent team of people have put in countless hours over the years to put this together. And she goes, it's just time to take a break. She told us it may not be forever. There may be an event in this area in the future. It may not look exactly like this event. So geocaching in the Tri-Cities is not going anywhere. The Tri-Cities GeoCoin Challenge, as we've been promoting it and talking about it, this is the end of the run for that one for now. Who knows what the future holds exactly. So, yeah, Cash and Cans says, didn't Jen say this is a see you later and not a goodbye? Exactly. There's no specific time when, just right now, at least, there is not one planned for next year.
Right. Okay.
That's all we can say for sure. So don't give up on it. And there's so many great people here that I predict something's going to come out of it down the road. I even had somebody tell me, and I don't know if she's in the chat tonight. I won't throw her under the bus, but she goes, they've got a great group of people here. They could pull off a Geo Woodstock here. So something to think about, maybe. Don't know. Oh yeah, there you go. That's why it's all the event is ending because, as CRS98 said, I take full responsibility. I had Wits End sign the bingo card spot for visiting GCD.
That's it.
So
you have to stop it.
Yep. You have to end the event and no more geocaching. Try
nice. Seabeck Tribe says, Chris of the Northwest, did you get good ideas and tips for your trip? Yes, I'm bringing a crayon with me.
There you go.
And
bring a couple and keep one in the cooler.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
In case the one you're using melts.
Trade them out.
And it's supposed to be hotter this weekend than it was last weekend.
Oof.
So, Team Pass throws out that passports must be submitted by July 5th at 5 p.m.
There you go.
Now, Patrick, tell us how to submit those. Is it just email? Do we have to stop in person? What needs to be done? I shouldn't ask him that because it's on the caching page. And never mind. I forget that I asked anything because people who want to know can go figure it out.
And knowing him, he's probably throwing that in the chat too. But I'll throw out there that
I can hear him typing.
Oh yeah, I have volunteered to give Chris my GeoCoin since I do live here, and I'll get one from the replacement batch when they come available. So
nice. Caching Can't said if they do go out, they went out with a bang.
Yeah, it was great. I totally get it. I have been part of big events and annual recurring things, and it can be very draining. And no hard feelings. We're sad, but looking forward to something else. And there he says, drop off your passport at the Richland Community Center.
Nice. Richland Community Center.
Yeah.
Well,
I bet that's in Richland.
Yeah,
I'm thinking.
Yes.
I think it's in Howard Amon Park. So,
Wino says the future for next year: caching in the Bay, San Jose, 2024.
I was going to say we started off the podcast talking about some caches came here and some caches went to caching the Bay. So that's the plan for next year, for at least for Winos, is to head down to the Bay Area of California.
Interesting. Maybe we'll have to do a Northwest field trip.
There you go.
I'll be doing researching cheap flights and see where else I can go that weekend. Get some new states maybe.
And Land Monkey said, well, what are we going to do next year to come over and visit you? I said, if this event's not happening, you could visit at a time of year when it's not 100 degrees out. Just saying.
Yeah, like come a month earlier before it gets so stinking hot.
Before it gets warm. Yeah.
And there are still hundreds, if not thousands, of great caches around the Tri-Cities. There's trails of...
There's power trails, there's creative caches, there's previous year GeoCoin challenge caches out there. There's just some great caching. I've barely scratched the surface. In fact, I did more geocaching with this group on Saturday here in the Tri-Cities than I had done in the whole year I've lived here. So it was good. Nice.
Well, and you'd mentioned there's still previous year GeoCoin challenge caches out.
Some, yes.
Some. But did I hear right? There aren't any more previous year GeoCoins?
Right. To the best of my knowledge, because they made the announcement that this was the end, any previous year's swag and souvenirs and things that they had, they raffled off at the event setting. I didn't make it to that event in person, but that's what I was told. If anybody knows more, then please chime in, but that's what I was told. So if you didn't complete one in the years past, people can get the swag out there. People can enjoy it. So. All right.
Very good. So, Wits End, Bryling, thank you for talking about this. I mean, you guys are always on the show, but I rarely get to interview you and ask you questions. So this is kind of fun.
It's because I rarely get out and do much caching, but I did this year.
Caching Can't says there's a lot of 2022 and 2019 caches left. I know most of the 2022 Adventure Labs are still out.
Yeah, 2021 was all Adventure Labs, I believe.
Right.
And I believe
2020 didn't happen.
Adventure Labs have also potentially... No, 2021 Adventure Labs are still around, I think. I'm trying to remember what I saw on the map, but...
Yeah, And Team Pass
was
says all
like-
prior year coins we had left were given away. So
There you go. So there's, get your passport in by July 5th at the Richland Community Center. I had to make sure that was right. And that's all. You can only get this 2023 coin.
Yeah.
If you go out, maybe I'll see you out there this weekend.
But the 2023 coin has pictures of all previous 12 coins. So it's kind of like you're getting them all in a little tiny miniature fashion.
Yeah. I love it. Folks, thanks for tuning in to this episode of Caching in the Northwest. I hope you enjoyed it.
And I want to take a moment to thank Land Sharks and Gold Country Geotourism. They're our corporate Denali level sponsors. Land Sharks with a Z.ca is the outdoor adventure and geocaching store. Check them out online. They ship online orders daily. And for absolutely amazing geocaching adventures, check out exploregoldcountry.com.
That's right. And we want to thank our faithful Denali level supporters. That's Landshark, Gold Country Geotour, Team Squirrel, Groovy Owl, Cool Cow Cachers, and Cachly, the geocaching app. If you want to know more about supporting the show, click the Patreon link on the cachingnw.com website. Very active in the chat tonight, Sky Hawker. And You know what? He's pretty good sitting down and watching a baseball game with him, too.
Yeah, I had a chance to chat with him in person Saturday. It was a lot of fun. Let's see. Korsgot.
Green Words.
RAR 285.
CRS 98.
Just Finding Our Way.
Kitty Quest.
RE 54321.
Segehove.
Ackerdoc.
B Pendragon.
Antaeus.
Kid Vegas 19.
You Talks to Rocks.
Logwork.
Seabeck Tribe.
There's the logwork. Oh, it's completely invisible. Kev MacD.
MC3 Cats.
Genies.
LG 9000.
GSM ×2.
Trexzer, thanks for the glow.
That's right. Just Carlo, he's active in the chat tonight.
Team Noltex.
Subway Mark.
BC Rockcrawler.
Wet Coaster.
Alarobrick.
GeoNav Pro.
J-Car.
Hey, you, Dak.
Geocaches.
Camp Clan.
Gas Station Tuna.
Boomer 365.
M-Nerve.
Broncos fan for life.
Winos Seattle.
Flagman.
Peach of Washington.
Limax.
And Doramore.
That's right. Folks, thanks for taking the time to... you know what? I was going to say, normally at this point, we tell the guests, hey, how do you want people to get in contact with you? But I think they know. So...
Come here Thursday night.
Yeah, that's no idea.
Okay. If you want to get a hold of Brian Lang, come here Thursday night and put things in the chat.
Yeah.
And he'll have to deal with it.
Or come to an event and you'll find Brian Lang and me in the back seat of the Monkey's Jeep.
You never know.
Maybe. Who knows?
Sleeping. Or if I'm driving, I'm stuck in the driver's seat.
Folks, thanks for taking the time to listen to this episode of Caching in the Northwest. Your support helps keep the quality shows coming. If you like the show, please click the Patreon link on the cachingnw.com website. If you didn't like the show, let us know what you want us to talk about. In either case, please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Now, make sure you also subscribe and give us a review. If you were in a restaurant, you would tip. If you were in a live audience, you would clap. But since you're on a podcast, leave us a free, fast, fabulous, fantastic 5-star review. A 4-star review is just no good. We need 5-star reviews. Okay, maybe not. We'll take whatever you give us. You can call 253-693-TFTC and leave us a comment, ask us a question, or help us with sunscreen and water in the Tri-Cities or anywhere, any time of the day or night. And of course, you can email us at feedback@cachingnw.com. Join us live every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Pacific for a live show and chat. The show's produced by Chris Umfenauer, Jim Paulwitz, Jay Kennedy, and Brian Lang. It's licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license, copyright 2023 by Chris Umfenauer. And folks, it's time to stay tuned for
The After Show.
The After Show. Wet Coaster says, hold an archive party. That might get his attention. To which Brian Lang responds, I am the archive party.
There you go.
Gotta put the right hat on for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Team Pass says, don't forget the cash machine in Spokane on Saturday.
There you go. Celebrating Canada Day.
Oh, yes, it is. Oh, Canada. Wait, I didn't say that quite right, did I?
No, not quite.
Brian's home and native land.
Yeah, there you
It
go.
is.
Oh, what else we got in here? Well, we talked about, I talked about the best part of the weekend was seeing friends there. And Kitty Quest said, I had a great time caching the bay last weekend. It's lucky enough to run into Limax, Biffle Bear, and GSM ×2. Missed UDAC. Heard UDAC was there. Didn't get to make that connection. So I tell you, it's my favorite part is just hanging out with people.
Nice. Just Carlos says the Maritime Mega. Wow. The Maritime Mega 5 in Fredericton next week to attend my first Mega. Because of Geo Woodstock 18, I've been to a Giga before a Mega.
That's kicking things off with a bang.
Yeah.
I had to count the number of eyes in there. I was like, well, what is this number? 18. Okay, gotcha.
And he had a follow-up. Let's just do his follow-up there first. This one. Oops.
New video upload. The old YouTube today regarding what not to do with a trackable. That sounds like it might be a good GIF entry.
Don't drop it down the sewer.
Yeah. Don't leave it in a backpack.
See also car keys.
Or drop them down an elevator shaft.
That could be bad.
I've done that. Why this Brylang guy?
Who's he?
Heard of him.
Starting to pack for his trip to the Maritime Mega event in Fredericton, July 8th. That's like on the other side of the country.
4,400 some kilometers away.
That's just about the other side. Yeah, just about. Got me all
choked up about it, are you?
All choked up.
You know, one thing that was in the news that we skipped over was the geocaching night at the Mariners. So they did this last year, and they did it again this year. This year they gave away a shirt. So there you go. There's the geocaching shirt with the coordinates of
T-Mobile Park.
Thank you. I want to say the previous insurance company name, T-Mobile Park. I got it right when my daughter asked, right? Or I went with IHAM and his family, and we took the train up this time, and it was quite nice. Stopped and parked at Engle Lake. Took the train up, got up there in about 45 minutes, dropped us off, I don't know, what is that, 4 or 5 blocks from the park and the equivalent. And other side, we were on the wrong side of the tracks.
Yeah, I just on the other side of the tracks, but you get to walk the corkscrew ramp up and over the tracks and down.
Yep. Yeah, it was an easy walk into the park, got great seats, and watched a good game. I mean, everything went just right. Saw lots of geocachers there.
Yeah, Mariners even won that night. So
yeah, and there were people sitting around and go, I don't know these people as geocachers. How are you sure they're geocachers? And then the ones sitting, I think they were next to us, like, I don't know this family at all. I don't know. Maybe they could buy tickets after a certain time that people could fill in. Oh no, but he went up and got his geocaching shirt. Oh well, he must be a geocacher. Had to introduce myself.
There's some ongoing discussion here about you.
Yeah, apparently you made it on the Jumbotron, huh?
Oh yeah, I did that.
And I saw you at the game.
Oh yeah. There was a lot of people there, and just like Wits End, I don't want to start mentioning people, and they go, "Well, I was there too." Yeah. I forgot. Sorry. Oh, I didn't forget. I would forget to mention you. What is it? Don't feel special. The marketing idea was already in place and wasn't geared towards geocachers.
Oh.
Oh,
Chris,
no.
you can still special
Standard group. I was talking to IHAM when people said, hey, you're on the Jumbotron. Oh, I turned and looked and, so I had my 2 seconds of fame. That was it. I'm done.
That's deflation. It used to be 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I know. Exactly. But it was a really big screen. So, when you look at the amount of pixels for the amount of time, it works out.
I see.
Because it used to be just a really small screen and black and white. And this was in full color.
In stereo, we're available.
So it's called the T-Mobile what?
T-Mobile Park.
T-Mobile Park.
T-Mobile
The Pink
Park.
Palace.
It's interesting because when I was in Nevada there, we were there for Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final. So we drove past the T-Mobile Arena the same night that Las Vegas won the Stanley Cup.
Okay. Wow.
We were there about an hour or two after the game. So
you think a big company like that might have more than one park they want
I
their name?
I guess so. I mean, up here in Canada, we got Rogers Arenas all over the place. Rogers is one of our cell phone companies.
Right. What Custer wants to know is it the Kiss Cam you were on?
Just keep it simple, stupid.
No, it was not, because I was leaning over towards IHAM, and that would be really awkward. So anyway, that was fun.
What else we got here?
I think that should just about cover
I
it.
see some podcast drinkings.
Yes, we got some red wine, the Wits End Ale.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Kieran beer.
Kieran beer.
Did somebody do baking?
I don't recall seeing one. Let me just do a quick search.
And
Baking. No,
Peach of Washington is in Washington tonight, in case you wanted to know that.
She was in Washington on the weekend. In Tri-Cities, in fact.
Okay,
I saw her.
she wasn't at the game. Skyhawker was there, but either she was working. She wasn't in the section with us.
Oh, I think she was working that night.
She may have been working the game.
You didn't look her
and
up?
I felt bad. I wanted to reach over and talk to him, but you can't quite have a nice quiet conversation in the ballpark.
Just ask everybody to hold it down so you can chat.
I'll next time I get on the Jumbotron, I'll do that.
Yeah. All right.
Yep. I think Seebeck Tribe is packing for a Spokane/Idaho trip.
I'm wondering if
I would assume
this weekend's
cash machine, and then moving on to Idaho.
There you go. Some good caching in Idaho I've done too.
So this
There
is
you
the
go.
full
There's the
name of that
official
beer.
name of it.
Narrows Brewing Company Wits End Nutty Hazy Bearded IPA.
I'll take it.
Make it so.
I'll make the royalty checks out to. Oh wait.
Wet Coaster says in stats, he and Greenwords have cashed in 4 countries so far this year.
Oh, way to go!
Nice.
I've been in 4 countries in my lifetime.
I've been in 3 in my lifetime, and one of them was before geocaching.
The Seebeck Tribe has 405 finds, 12 DNFs, 21 events, 19 souvenirs, 65 days caching, and 5 caches hidden.
Well done.
Start Cacher has already gone off to bed, but he's going to Cedar Point tomorrow. And I love Cedar Point. Cedar Point battles with some of the other big amusement parks, like Six Flags and such, for the biggest and fastest and steepest drop roller coaster. So you go there.
They're constantly rebuilding things.
Yeah.
And they've got some of the biggest, fastest roller coasters, and it's a lot of fun.
It's funny, they're not as much fun as they were when I was younger. Just saying.
Yeah.
Oh. Huh.
So apparently B. Pendragon was baking. That is what he made. A cheese spiral.
Ooh. No, that's IHAM.
Yeah, but he said
no, because earlier he said this.
There you go.
B. Pendragon did some podcast baking, cheese spiral.
He was also at the game. B. Pendragon.
All the cool kids are there, it sounds like.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, they weren't in the Tri-Cities where it was hot and sunny. They were in Seattle where it's cool and wet.
Well, that was Monday.
Yeah, I was gonna say Skyhawker was here. Winos was here.
Wino says, give me 5 months. I'll get you a Wits End hazy bearded IPA.
Fair enough.
Okay. We're going to hold you to it. Oh, Seabeck Tribe's going to do the oldest in Idaho with mountain bike.
Oh,
Right,
nice.
I did see that mentioned somewhere. There's a group going guided tour.
Yes.
Idaho's oldest.
I think that's how we found it.
I was going to say Wits End, isn't that what we did in
Yeah.
like March or May of 2020?
Yeah, it was something like that.
It
Rode up there with
probably
quads
would
in the
be
mud.
March because or in May because March I'm thinking. It might
Yeah, I
be
think it was later.
Yeah, it was
The
still too
summertime.
much snow. There was still snow up there when we went. And Quad's pickup got stuck because there was too much weight in it. So I got out and everything was fine.
No.
Did you see my response on where I was Monday night and part of the Adventure Lab? No. Oh, there you go.
It's great. Yeah.
I was working. Oh, that was it. I was working that night, and part of the Adventure Lab published in the stadium.
Ah.
I didn't see that an Adventure Lab published in the stadium.
Well, go back. Do it right now.
Oh,
Back for
man.
another
I missed. I looked when we first got there, but I missed it. That's cool.
Yeah, very
Oh,
cool.
she was working 5 sections down.
Ah.
There you go. Oh, man, you guys had all the answers, and I wasn't looking for it. There you
See?
go. Well,
Chat Lackey's getting tired.
Chat room is where
That's
it's
right.
at.
well, folks, thank you so much for joining us. And until next week, get out and get caching in the Northwest.